Hey guys, I'm back, and we're going to talk about something a little different today because this comes up quite a bit. Maybe quite a bit's exaggerated a little, but every time we mention it, somebody says, "The fuck is a tactical pen?" Well, they don't really say it like that, but often it's like that. A tactical pen. And it's a term that we just use and we've been using for a while, and I don't know when we started saying the words tactical pen, but we say it. So let's talk about what the hoo-ha, fill in your favorite expression, is a tactical pen. Because it's a real thing. It's actually a real thing. And I have a Zippo here for size reference just so you can get an idea. I have, let's see, what do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in front of me. I have a lot more than this, because they come in all sorts of shapes and sizes and different features and stuff. But there's a few things that all tactical pens will have in common, and they are pretty good things to have. I always say that the T word, tactical, is way overused in whatever community you wanna call it. Prepping, outdoors, bushcraft, camping. Fill in the blank here, EDC, whatever. Because tactical actually has a meaning. It has a couple different meanings the way you can look at it, and the way that they use it in tactical pen is to mean in military type or in the field type, as opposed to a common household kind of thing. It really is I did do a video once called Too Much Tactical, talking about how the word tactical is basically a marketing term that has no meaning. It has no meaning anymore because it's so overused. But anyway, if you want to check that out, I'll put a thingy over here, the Too Much Tactical. But when we talk about tactical pens, we use the term to reference these as opposed to just an old Bic pen or something you would use in an office, in the house, stuff like that. And these are made for specific, in a specific way for a specific purpose. So, what is the actual definition of a tactical pen? That's hard because there really is not one set definition of a tactical pen, and to say that is to say that there are just a bunch of different definitions depending on who you ask and what you're looking at it for. But in general, okay, so general terms, a tactical pen is going to be metal. It's going to be made out of metal. It's going to have refillable ink cartridges inside. Most of the time, I'm going to show you one here that doesn't do that. It's going to have a retractable pen, right? So it's not always sticking out. You're going to be able to do something to have the pen come out and come back in. And it's going to have some other feature to it. Now, I shouldn't say that, but usually it has some other feature to it. But in general, they all can be used if you know the techniques in a self-defense kind of role. If you're familiar with the kind of techniques that you would use with the old Kubotan techniques for using these on pressure points, or in a much more gross. I don't mean gross like, ew, that's gross. I mean gross like big picture view. One of these to any of the soft tissue areas, not just necessarily pressure points, but neck, face, eyes, stuff like that. That's gonna make a person seriously consider what they're doing and what you don't want them to do. There's other soft tissue areas but anyway, so that's really what a tactical pen is: metal, refillable cartridge, retractable point, and has the ability to be used in some kind of self-defense kind of way. That's kind of sort of where they grew out from what I've been able to gather, looking into it with actually not really any real research and just lazily putting it together on my own. But a lot of us have been using tactical pens for a really long time without really, just throwing the term around without really thinking about it. And every time I have one in a box or I mention it, somebody, a couple people want to be like, what the hell is a tactical pen? So we're looking at it. So like I said, you can see here I have 7 different ones here. that are kind of, they reflect all the different things you might see in the world of the tactical pen. There are a lot more. You might often see there's a couple different standard, made in China that are rebranded, with a bunch of different names on it. They're pretty common. There are some that are very unique that you won't see from anywhere else. But as we go through this, you'll see that they all have the similar features that we talked about, and some have extra that are like bonus, that are cool. I don't remember exactly everything for every pen I have here, because I'm the kind of guy that, like, once I like something, I just stick with it a lot until I'm like, oh, hey, maybe I'll try that again, and then I got to get used to it all again. But anyway, some tactical pens have extra features like this Phoenix and this Olight one. They have lights on it. The Olight one has a laser on it. One of the things people really like in tactical pens is the bolt action. This is, just one way to activate, the ink, but it's also got a little fidget factor to it. A lot of people like to have something a little fidgety just to mess with. This is a real good, firm, positive way to control the ink, the pen, as opposed to the kinds that just sort of rotate. Because like this one, for example, I'll be honest, this one came from PvP, Pill Valhalla Project. It's not a real high quality one. I'm not going to fault them. They put this in with the elite membership, and they're not trying to make a buck on it. They just threw it in as a free thing, but so they sourced it from the less expensive pool. But anyway, if you don't remember which way to turn it, you could very easily accidentally start doing this, and that's how you disassemble it. So that's what I'm talking about, where the bolt action is a more positive control than just twisting it. Like this one from Zippo also uses the twist, and then it also happens to come apart the same way. All of these, I think, in fact, come apart to replace the ink cartridge, except this guy, which has no ink cartridge, in the same way, twisting it. So this is one of the common ones that you might see rebranded, with a lot of different names on it. It has kind of a soft clip, I'll call it, because it can bend very easily, but it's aluminum. It has a carbide glass breaker tip in it, which, well, we always say, I'd say glass breaker / temple smasher, because you get a good hit on the temple or any other pressure point right there, and like I said, that's gonna give you a little bit of self-defense if you know the techniques. And some of the techniques are not hard. Some of them are a little bit, you need to be shown, you need to learn how to use them a little bit. Like my best friend Adam, he's really good. He tortured me when we were growing up because he took martial arts and I didn't, and he knows how to use them. But so this is lightweight, you can carry it around. It is a little bit bulky. Again, it's bulkier, bigger than a regular pen you would carry around, but it's so you can keep a good grip on it. You can see it's got a very knurled finish there, so you can, all of this is so that you can keep a good grip on it when you're using it. This is the, I can't remember, it's the O-Pen Pro 2 or something like that. This one's a limited edition one. They don't put this one out anymore in brass like this, but Olight has a few different ones. This one's cool because it is like everything else. So you've got your little bolt action pen. This one also has a laser. In case you need, in case you need a laser. And I have used this for stuff like, I haven't used this in the military, because I didn't get this. But back in the day when I was an instructor, we kind of use laser pointers a lot because, you're doing briefings in a whole auditorium of people. And, so you're pointing at stuff and demonstrating, and this part of the MiG-29 sucks because, and this part of the MiG-29 sucks because, and this part of the MiG-29 sucks because, But it also has a light, which is a feature that's becoming more and more common on tactical pens. Now, this one being in brass is a little heavier than the aluminum. Olight also has a whole series in aluminum. And they have different sizes. Like you've seen on the channel over and over, the big version, this one, the little tiny ones. But this, again, it doesn't have the glass breaker, but in the right hands, this can this can be pretty painful if it needs to be. This one is by Blackhawk. You know, they make a lot of different gear. This is a demonstration of, remember I said this is a very soft clip? This is interesting because all the electronics go through this clip, you know, for the LED, the wiring. So this is a clip that you really wouldn't want to mess with too much in terms of, you know, stretching it out and stuff like that. But this one is a very soft clip. This is has much better retention as a clip. And this is a higher dollar value, you know, pen. It also has the glass breaker temple smasher. You notice these ones have these little divots. Interesting feature. These are for collecting DNA. No joke. If you need to use this self-defense wise, when you're popping this into people's soft tissue areas or, you know, temple pressure points or whatever, these areas are made so that they're going to scrape skin cells or collect little drops of blood or whatever, so that you can use it to identify. I'm not making this up. So that you can use it to identify later on if the, you know, let's say you were attacked and they catch the guy and you need to prove that's the guy. Well, you defended yourself with your tactical pen, and guess what? You've got some DNA of the attacker to prove that they were there. They were the person. Who thought of it? I don't know. But this is kind of a common feature you'll see on some tactical pens. This one, again, it's, you know, just aluminum with some texturing so you can get a good hold on it. Strangely enough, well, I don't know which one weighs more. I don't know. It's a little smaller, but it does the same thing. You've got your pen for writing with. So it's a legitimate pen. I mean, I shouldn't make it out like these things are just weapons. They're legitimate pens. But they're also, you know, self-defense tools. And they're rugged, too, by the way. So if you're taking them out into the field, camping, whatever, you're not going to accidentally snap them like a plastic, you know, or cheaper, lighter weight pen. They've got some heft to them. This one is kind of on the fence. This is by Zippo. It is aluminum, right? So it's metal. It looks more like an everyday, you know, pen that you might have just, you know, in your office or whatever. But it does the same kind of functions. It can do the same kind of functions. It's got that wider body, so you can get a real good hold of it. These little Zippo flames over here give you some good texturing to get a grip, and you know, it allows you, if you need to get a hold and poke somebody with it, but it also gives you that nice heftier, tougher pen. This one, we've gotten a couple of them in different boxes, and strangely enough, none of them out of the box, none of them have written. I've had to replace the ink in all of them. The other thing about tactical pens, talking about replacing the ink, is that they all generally will accept a standard ink cartridge. So the only one that I've had a real tough time replacing has been the Olight one, where I don't know if it does accept a standard ink cartridge, and I just haven't. Hang on, you gotta do this part. Yeah, see, it's got a very specific little Olight ink cartridge there. I don't know if I just haven't found the right civilian, you know, mass marketable ink cartridge for it, or what. But for the most part, you can replace most of your tactical pen ink with just anything you'll find at like Walmart, or, you know, or order off of Amazon. So it's not that big a deal when you have to replace the ink. This one is a little step up too. This is by Phoenix. So Phoenix, very good light maker. It's got a little bit, you know, again, it's stylish and stuff. It has, this is same kind of features. It's got a little bit of area for grip. It's got a little bit of a tighter retaining clip. It has your glass breaker temple smasher. This one also has a built-in light, but it's more integral to the body of the pen. So it, you know, it's not, if you mess up your clip, you're not breaking anything. And oh, it's on. Sorry, it's on its low setting. You know, Phoenix being more into the lights and everything like that, it's a very good small size light that you can use for, you know, just general purpose work right in front of you. And of course, pen. Let's just go ahead and see what this... I have not opened this up, but I imagine we're going to find... Oh, look at that. Okay. Like I said, I've never opened this up. I don't know if that's a very specific refill or what. Interesting. So. We're going to save this guy for last. This one is by Bastion. Bastion makes the Bastion Brazza. Oh, I got to carry my Bastion Brazza. Some really nice EDC blades. This one is steel. And I took a blowtorch to it, thinking maybe it was not. I don't know what I thought. But so it's got a little color to it. I did that. It didn't come like that. It had a much nicer finish till I messed with it. Standard kind of stuff. It's got your bolt action. This one is more of a no frills kind of thing. Before I did this, you could not see where it separated to open up the ink. It was so well done. This doesn't have a lot of the fancier features. This is more of a pen, but again, it is a wider, easier to grip piece of steel that you can poke and prod and do what you need to with. This one is by Boker, and we saw this one. This came in a monthly knife club. Now, this one kind of breaks the mold. This is not technically a tactical pen, but I'm throwing it in there just to show you some variation. This is really cool. This is more of a tactical pencil. There's no ink. There's no ink. There's just a piece of metal here, and you can see it's not doing anything. But when you get paper, it oxidizes, and it writes on the paper. This is great. So this never runs out of ink, and this thing lasts, forever, I guess. It is smaller, right? So it's, you don't have the same grip on it, but at the end of the day, it is a pokey piece of metal, which you can use for the same kind of thing. Might not be as effective if you can't get as good a grip on it, but I thought this thing just amazes me every time because it writes like, you've got a metal pen. It's amazing. So I just wanted to throw it in there as one more example. When you're choosing a tactical pen to take out into the field with you, once upon a time I did a whole video, like a 2-part series on waterproof notebooks and paper and all the different things that you could have. Some of these, depending on what ink cartridge you use, some of them will come with gel ink, which writes really nice and flows really smooth, but takes a while to dry, and you could end up with smudged whatever it is. I prefer ballpoint ink. It just dries quicker and is a little more smudge resistant. You can even get like nitrogen pressurized space pen refills to put in these things if you want, that right on wet stuff, greasy stuff, upside down stuff, all that, whatever. So that's basically, there's not much more to say about what the fuck is a tactical pen. That's what it is. That's how they work. That's what they do. They just provide you a little bit more options, more in the field usage than a regular old Bic pen. They're cool. A lot of people like to make it part of their EDC. A lot of people in the uniform world, whether it's military, first responder, police, fire, rescue, EMS stuff, they'll carry something like this, not necessarily for the self-defense, self-defense weapon value, but just because it is a tougher, more rugged, if you got gloves and stuff on, easier to use writing device for those kinds of situations, more durable. I think most people that look at it in terms of self-defense are probably, people that are not going to be otherwise equipped with other gear. It's going to be in your pocket, and it's, something that is non-threatening looking. It's a pen, but look, I can also kick your ass with it, so stay the hell away from me, So that's what I got. I just thought I'd put this together. We're not getting like deep and heavy into, the first tactical pen was seen in North America in, 1961. No, just a little overview and a few different looks at some of the shapes, you'll find hundreds, literally hundreds, maybe thousands of different models. So, you know, I couldn't possibly show you what all of them look like, but, you know, do a Google search. Just look up tactical pen and you'll find a whole bunch coming up if you're curious. So I hope that kind of solves it, answers the question for some people that were wondering. And if, you know, you weren't wondering, maybe hopefully this is just kind of a thing to see. So thanks, guys, for spending some more time with me. If there's like a piece of gear, equipment, EDC stuff that you got a question on, you want me to take a little look at on camera and talk about, you know, if I don't know what it is, I'll do the research and I'll let you know, like, hey, no firsthand knowledge, but I did some research. We'll take a look at it, maybe, possibly, if it's something that we can do a video on. So, all right, I'd love to hear your opinions on what we presented here today and whether or not you thought this was a useful kind of video or something you'd like to see more of. In any case, remember that you guys are all absolutely awesome, and I appreciate every single one of you, and I'll be back again real soon.